Sukihotu and welcome to Buddhist Mahavihara's Facebook page, live on the Dhammadana series. This evening we have with us a very popular speaker, I will say. This is Bhante Dr S Pemaratana, and I think many of you are aware or have met him when Bhante has been here in Malaysia with us at the Buddhist Mahavihara. And Bhante has also done many of our online Dhamma sharings over the past year. I'm very glad and grateful that Bhante has invited us this evening. It's actually 7:30 a.m. now in the States for Bhante. It's very early for him, and we take this opportunity to thank him for waking up so early for our sake. So Bhante, I would like to introduce you now to the audience. Kyoto Bhante.
Suki Hotu. So good to see you, brother.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Good evening to you.
Yeah. Okay, for those of you who are not very familiar with Bhante Premalata, let me quickly read his quick profile so that you get to know who Bhante Pemaratana is. Bhante Dr S Pemaratana is the chief abbot of the Pittsburgh Buddhist Center in the USA. He holds a bachelor's degree in studies from Peradeniya University of Sri Lanka, a master's in philosophy from the National University of Singapore, and was conferred a PhD from the University of Pittsburgh. He conducts regular workshops on meditation at his center and also at yoga studios in the greater Pittsburgh area. He also provides spiritual counseling to help Americans deal with the challenges of modern living. And this evening, talking to us about how to deal with uncertainty in life, especially in this current time. I think in Malaysia we are facing that because the pandemic doesn't seem going away; it's getting worse. Uh, Bhavante, it's in America. It's a new thing because they got a new president in place, and so there's a lot of hope and uncertainty as well in the area in America as well. So let's hear Bhante this evening on how to deal with uncertainty in life. Bhante, would you kindly start the Dhamma sharing?
Thank you, brother. Thank you, everyone. It is such a great pleasure to be with you all once again. Let us start our Dhamma sharing, and I invite all of you to take a moment to put our palms together and express our gratitude and express our honor and appreciation to the great teachings of the Buddha. So let us all together do the salutation to the Buddha in Pali. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Dear friends in the Dhamma, first of all, I would like to extend my blessings and my loving kindness to all of you to stay safe and healthy during this period. And may you and your family members and everyone be blessed with a stronger immunity, good health. It has been more than an year that we all are experiencing these challenges, these difficulties due to this pandemic. During this period, one thing that we all confronted with is this feeling of uncertainty in our life. Things are not as used to be, and we used to plan things in advance. We used to predict things in advance, and now so many things have been changed. So we are not able to change. We are not able to clearly plan, maybe even predict or say things clearly. So many things have changed. So this is a moment that we all experience uncertainty. I think it's because we are all going through this feeling in terms of our financial security, also in terms of our own good health, also in terms of our health of our family members and friends, and also in terms of social environment. So everything seems to be unsettled. So this is the best time for us to take a moment to reflect on the teachings of the Buddha, and then find out ways how to deal with this. How to move through this period of uncertainty, and also how also to manage our life in this difficult context. Okay, so when we have these kinds of changes, these kinds of difficulties, circumstances, we experience uncertainty. So because of this global situation, and most of us are experiencing uncertainty. But even before this pandemic, in our own personal life, you may have experienced uncertainty in different times in your life. Basically, we experience uncertainty when we experience sudden change. It could be a change of our job, our work, or even it could be maybe death of a family member. It could be our own sickness. And in these moments of dramatic change, we experience uncertainty quite prominently. So the question we should ask, of course, we have this fear. We get this sense of unsettling feeling. We get this, we really feel the uncertainty when we experience these moments of change, basically moments of sudden change. The question we should ask is uncertainty there only when we experience changes, or was there any moment in our life that things were certain? There is an interesting, important question that we all should ask from ourselves. Was there any moment in our life that things were certain? When our life is smooth, it is when it's like moving as without any dramatic changes, we feel like everything is certain. But don't you think that the feeling that we get, everything is certain when our life is smooth, is a wrong conception? It's a false sense of certainty. There was not a moment in our life that everything was certain. So one thing we should realize is that during this pandemic, and also during the sudden changes in our personal lives, we experience uncertainty very prominently. It's right in front of our eyes. But that doesn't mean that when there was no pandemic, when there was no sudden changes in our life, that doesn't mean that uncertainty was not there. Uncertainty was always there. It was always there. But we didn't notice it. We didn't really see it. Therefore, we took things for granted. And therefore, we thought that, when life is smooth, things are certain. But in reality, it was always there. And that is the uncertainty is the foundation of all of our existence. And we need to remember, this is uncertainty is related to the Buddhist teaching of impermanence. And Buddha taught that, everything in this world is impermanent. Everything related to our life is impermanent. And uncertainty comes as a result of impermanence. So the one important discovery of the Buddha, and also one important insight that Buddha has given to us, is this three marks of our existence, or three characteristics of our reality. I hope you remember those three characteristics. These three characteristics are the very common fundamental nature of our being. One is called impermanence. Second one is dukkha, or unsatisfactoriness. And third one is what we call anatta, or non-self. So impermanence, dissatisfactoriness, and non-self. Non-self means not 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 able to own anything. So these three characteristics are the fundamental nature of our reality. So if everything is impermanent, and uncertainty has to be a part of this life. So when we connect the uncertainty to the main teachings of the Buddha, we realize that it's not new. Uncertainty is not really new. It is always there, and it is the foundation of our life, uncertainty. But we should remember that when Buddha talks about impermanence, and when we talk about uncertainty, he didn't meant that the world is chaotic. Everything is subject to change. Everything is uncertain, but that doesn't mean that everything is chaotic. Everything is happening randomly. That will be other extreme. On the one hand, we need to understand that everything is uncertain, impermanent. But on the other hand, we need to understand that any change, any impermanent, in any moments of impermanence happens not in a random or chaotic way. There is a causal principles working underneath. So, what we call, the Buddhist causality, or maybe Buddhist conditionality, that everything happens due to causes and conditions. So, therefore, the uncertainty doesn't mean that everything is chaotic and there's nothing we can do, but it kind of tells us that everything is uncertain, unstable, inconstant, impermanent. But at the same time, all these changes happen due to specific causes and conditions. So it's kind of open to change. Is always vulnerable to change, but that change happens in a particular pattern, following the causal connections, following the causes and conditions, what we call dependent origination. So if we realize the causes and conditions, we can manage it. So we are living in a world that is not solid, or not strong, not permanent. We are living in a world which is impermanent and uncertain. But at the same time, we are not living in a world which is completely chaotic, or there's no pattern. We are living every change happens according to causes and conditions. So there has to be appropriate conditions for any phenomena to arise. There has to be appropriate conditions for any change to occur. So there's a particular order and pattern to this whole change. Therefore, it's not completely unmanageable. We can manage it. That is the wisdom we should take from the teachings of the Buddha, particularly when it comes to uncertainty. So, in fact, actually, when you read the teachings of the Buddha, you find that one of the important concerns of the Buddha, even before he became the Buddha, while he was still a bodhisattva, was this issue of uncertainty. And we find a direct reference to this uncertain nature of our life, and how the bodhisattva was concerned about this nature of uncertainty, this uncertain nature of our life, of our reality. So, very important sutta that we find this story of the Buddha, story of the bodhisattva, is called Arya Pariyesana Sutta. Arya Pariyesana Sutta, the discourse on the noble search. So the Buddha described when he was still a young prince, still a bodhisattva, how he was able to discover this noble search. The noble search for a real sense of security. He realized that many beings are looking for security, but they are looking the security in wrong places. And that's one discovery the Bodhisattva made, and that opened his search for a more solid, more sure uh, ground of security. And that is how the Bodhisattva renounced his life and then went went to search for um, more surest freedom and more surest refuge. And let me tell you about this sutta. This is a very interesting sutta, and this Arya Pariyesana Sutta, the discourse on the noble search, is found in the in the Buddhist scripture called Middle Length Discourses of the Buddha, in Majjhima Nikaya, the middle length discourses of the Buddha. And this is a very interesting discourse, because this is one of the earliest records of the life of the Buddha before he becoming the Buddha. And there are a few suttas where Buddha describes his own life story, and before his disciples started to collect his life story, and Buddha himself sometimes revealed, how what he did before he became the Buddha. And so this sutra, Arya Pariyesana Sutra, is one of the earliest record of the life story of the Buddha. But today I'm not going to tell all these details there. But let me tell you, how Buddha came about, how Buddha started to teach about this noble search, like the best way to look for refuge for uncertainty. So according to this sutra, and Buddha was living in the city called Savatthi, in the monastery built by Anatha Pindika. And then early in the morning, Buddha went out for alms round. So he has his habit of going out and going for alms round and meeting people and sharing the teaching, allowing people to do merits, and also allowing people to listen to the Dhamma. So he went out for his alms round, and when Buddha was away, a group of monks came to the monastery of Anathapindikas, and then Venerable Ananda, the attendant of the Buddha, assistant of the Buddha, was there. And these monks made a request from Venerable Ananda. They told Venerable Ananda, and it has been a long time since we listened to the teachings of the Buddha in person. So it will be good, it will be so good if we can again, have a meeting with the Buddha, if we can again listen to the teachings of the Buddha directly from him. And can you arrange such a discussion? Can you arrange such a Dhamma talk for us? This is a very interesting request. I think, we need to understand that when people become disciples of the Buddha and they will get the teachings of the Buddha, particularly they will get instructions to how to live their life, and also particularly, especially for monks, they will get instruction from the Buddha how to meditate. What types of meditation is most suitable for each monk. So once they get the instruction, and they will go. And then they will come back once in a while to report their progress, and that's how the training happened. So this time, maybe this group of monks who got the instruction from the Buddha went away, and then now after a while they came back. They feel like they want more encouragement, more clarification. So they made the request from Venerable Ananda, can you arrange a talk for us? We would really love to hear from the Buddha again. Of course, Buddha was out when these monks came. And Venerable Ananda suggested them, okay, I will tell you. Please go to the place called Ramika's monastery, Ramaka monastery. There's a small place built by a person called Ramaka. And please, it's not far from here. Can you go and stay there? I will make a plan to bring the Buddha to that place. You may go to that Ramaka's place and stay there. And then, Venerable Ananda made a promise, okay, I will bring the Buddha to that place. So you go there and stay there. So then Buddha came back from his arms round, and Venerable Ananda did not, disturb the Buddha, did not like quickly, uh, tell the Buddha that, we have, this group of monks. Venerable Ananda waited, and, Buddha had his meal after coming back from the arms round, and when Ananda assisted the Buddha. And after the meal, Buddha told Venerable Ananda, it will be good if I go to the next monastery. In the city of Savatthi, there were few monasteries. One is this Anathapindika's monastery, and there was another monastery built by the prominent female disciple called Visakha. I think you heard about that. Visakha also had built another monastery. It's called Pubbaram, and sometimes we also call it the mansion of the Migara's mother, because Visakha had another name, a mother of Migara, because the Visakha's father-in-law appointed Visakha as his mother, in the sense of mother who taught the Dhamma to him. So Migara Mata is another name for Visakha, which means mother of Migara. Migara is the father-in-law, her father-in-law. However, so there was another monastery in the same city built by Visakha. So the Buddha suggested, Buddha told Venerable Ananda, I would like to go to this Visakha's monastery, Migara Mata's monastery, for my afternoon rest. Then Venerable Ananda agreed to the Buddha. Still, Venerable Ananda didn't tell the Buddha that there were monks waiting there. So Venerable Ananda really wanted Buddha to have his afternoon rest. Actually, afternoon rest doesn't mean that Buddha will go and have a nap there. And there's a tradition that after the meal, Buddha will spend a very secluded time, and that's the period that he will go into his deep meditation. And every day, Buddha will spend a time of seclusion. This is a very important lesson that we should learn from the life of the Buddha. No matter no matter how much he taught, how much he traveled to all these different places, no matter how many people he met, but every day he made sure that he spent a moment of seclusion, particularly the afternoon, and then he will go into deep meditation and experience higher levels of jhana, and then he'll come back. So that is what Buddha is asking. I would like to go to this the monastery of Pubbaram, the Visakha's monastery. Venerable Ananda agreed, and Buddha went there, and then he spent his afternoon. So Venerable Ananda is still waiting. Didn't tell the Buddha his arrangement, his promise. After the seclusion period is over, and Buddha came out and then made another suggestion to Venerable Ananda. Ananda, I would like to go to that pond, which is in the eastern gate of this monastery, and I would like to wash my limbs. So kind of Buddha is telling Ananda, I would like to have some shower, some kind of washing of my limbs. Let's go to that pond. Okay, again, Venerable Ananda obliged, agreed, and followed the Buddha. Didn't tell him anything yet. So Buddha went to that pond and washed his limbs and everything. There is such an interesting description, how for us to understand, the general pattern of a daily life of the Buddha. So after he washed his limbs and get a nice shower, and Buddha was staying there, sun bathing, waiting everything to dry. And in that moment, when Buddha was done his washing, and when he was waiting to dry everything, then Venerable Ananda made the suggestion. Venerable Sir, the Ramaka's place, the place that Venerable Ananda asked those monks to go there first. and he's telling the Buddha, Venerable Sir, the Ramaka's place is nearby. It's nearby to this pond, and would you mind to visit that place? And it is a nice place, and also there's a group of monks waiting there to have a talk with you. Would you mind? Would you mind visiting this Ramaka's place? It's also really interesting how Venerable Ananda is managing this, request he's getting from monks and lay people, and also he also need to think about the Buddha's health and Buddha's, own needs. And so this is how he really managed this. And then, of course, Buddha agreed to go to the Ramaka's place. So when the Buddha went there were a group of monks, so they were having a Dhamma discussion. And actually, it says that Buddha actually waited outside until the topic is their discussion is kind of over, and once and Buddha also made a sign that he's there with his clearing of his throat. That is how Buddha made known that he is there, like clearing his throat, clearing his throat. And then all the monks were so happy, and then they invited the Buddha, and Buddha asked, "What were you talking about before I come here?" The monks reported, "Actually, Venerable Sir, we were discussing about you, how you discover this truth in your own journey of your life." And that was what we were discussing. And in that moment, actually, Buddha started to describe his noble search, that how he was concerned by the uncertainty of life, and how he decided to make a special effort, a dedicated effort to find a way to deal with this uncertainty, and then and find a more surest way of refuge. And so then Buddha said that, "Okay, venerables, all the monks, I will tell you how I did that and what was my concern." And there actually Buddha started his sermon saying that, "Monks, there are two searches. One is called ignoble search. The other one is called noble search." Ignoble search and noble search. And he describes what is the ignoble search. Let me read it for you. What is the ignoble search? There's a case amongst a person being subject to birth and seek happiness in what is likewise subject to birth, and being subject himself to aging, seeks happiness in what is likewise subject to aging. Being himself subject to illness, seeks happiness in what is likewise subject to illness. And being subject himself to death, seeks happiness in what is likewise subject to death. And he goes on to explain that. So Buddha is saying that people want some certainty. People want some happiness. And so in order to seek happiness, so we ourselves are changing all the time. We ourselves are subject to aging. We ourselves are subject to illness. We ourselves are subject to death. And then we seek happiness in someone else or something else, which is also equally subject to the same things. So but they say that we are kind of unstable. We want to find a stable ground in order to feel happy and stable. What these people all around the world is doing, that they themselves subject to these uncertain things, this illness, death, but then they look for some certainty, they look for some refuge, they look for happiness on things and people who are themselves also subject to the illness, death, and the same condition. So Buddha told that it is ignoble search. That is ignoble search. That is not wise search. And then Buddha said that there's a noble search. And how the Buddha described the noble search? There's a case where a person, himself being subject to birth, sickness, death, seeing the drawbacks of birth, seeks the unborn, unexcelled rest from yoke, unbinding. And so what Buddha is saying, that if you really, the noble search would be realizing that we ourselves are subject to these changes, uh, in constant and constant changes, and then find looking, seeking happiness or seeking refuge, seeking safety, not in the similar things, but in an unconditioned experience, what we call nibbana, or the Buddha call it unbinding here. The unbinding, the ability, the place where there are no bindings or no cravings. So what Buddha is telling here in simple language is that people looking for happiness in things that are always inconstant, always changing. They themselves are subject to change and uncertainty, and then they are also looking for happiness in the things that are equally uncertain and changing. And and Buddha said that's not going to be a fruitful search. Therefore, Buddha said that when he was a bodhisattva, he realized this, and that is why he renounced his life and looking for more stable, more certain refuge, more certain ground, which is not found within our sensual realm, which is found in the very renunciation of our desire to have anything to hold into, and then find the unbinding, the unconditioned state of nibbana. However, so that is deep teaching there. And of course, in the sutta, after Buddha gave this difference between ignoble search and noble search, and then Buddha described how he himself renounced his life and then went to different teachers, what kind of practices he did, and he explained his journey all the way up to the enlightenment in this sutta called Arya Pariyesana Sutta, the discourse on the noble search. What is important for us, for our theme today, is that the uncertainty is actually part of our life. It is something that's not going to be over, not going to be away from our life as long as we are living in this life. See, uncertainty is part of the life. It is only the nibbana we kind of transcend this uncertainty. So, as practicing Buddhists, what we can do with this reality, uncertainty. So I'm going to share with you a few things that we can do as Buddhist practitioners, the advices that we can get from the Buddha, how to deal with this uncertainty. So important, first thing I would say, is that accept uncertainty as a part of life. There's no way that we will find anything certain. So uncertainty, this vulnerability of the life, this possibility that anything can change at any time, this uncertainty is a part of the life. And accept it. Accept it. It's no point of rejecting it, no point of like fighting against it. Whether we like it or not, it's going to happen. Whether we fight against uncertainty or not, it's always going to be uncertain. So the Buddha's advice is actually accept the uncertainty. It's a part of the three characteristics. Accept the uncertainty as a part of life. Thank you, brother, for summarizing it. And that will be the first thing. And his life is about uncertainty. And we used to think that the reason that we really do not like uncertainty is that because we think that uncertainty is always negative. Uncertainty is something that going to bring very bad things to our life. But if you really think deeply, uncertainty is not necessarily negative. I'm not saying that it's going to be necessarily positive. Uncertainty is actually change. Possibility of change is like possible. Everything can change at any time. So uncertainty is not necessarily negative. It can be positive too. It's also not necessarily positive. It can be negative too. But what uncertainty is really doing to us is actually uncertainty gives us an opportunity. Uncertainty gives us an opportunity to change, to do things differently. So it's not always negative. It can be. We can actually make things positive if you really um, uh, know how to like deal with this. Um, if anything, and life, because life is like a very living, very vibrant, dynamic process. Life has to be uncertain, because if anything is certain, that means it is fixed. We may think that we like a certain life, the life that is everything is certain, everything is fixed, everything is arranged for us. But I'm sure if you have a life that is certain, you should be very bored by now, very bored, because the life that is fixed is a very boring life. And but life is not a fixed thing. It's not like certainty is like a dead thing. It's not life anymore. But life has to move. Life has to be vibrant, and that is therefore uncertainty has to be a part of the life. And because the uncertainty give us opportunity, and things can change. Things that we take for granted can change, and maybe our work that we love so much can change. Our source of income that we had such a trust can change. But that doesn't mean that everything is collapsed, everything is over. That change, that uncertain circumstance gives us a new opportunity. If your work is gone, and it opens you possibility for new ventures. And let's say of your relationships were broken, and we need to understand the relationships are not always stable, and we always need to like manage it very wisely. But in case if such a relationship is broken, is gone, and that opens you possibility to have new ventures, new openings. I'm not saying that do the same mistake again with another person, but it kind of any uncertain incident can teach us so much thing to our life, and then it helps us to move forward. So what uncertainty is telling us is that our life is not done. So our life is not done yet. It's not fixed, and it's open. It is open for change. It's open for our own effort and our own wisdom to change it. So it's a good thing. Uncertainty is not necessarily bad in that sense, because it's basically uncertainty gives us opportunities. It's a lot of opportunities for us to change, for us to move, for us to evolve, for us to improve ourselves. It's good that it's uncertain because we can improve. If our life was certain, there was no no opportunity for us to change. We will be like prisoners of our own fate, so to speak. Yeah, certainty means fate. That means if fate is fixed, we will be prisoners of our fate, or we will be like puppets of whatever design that someone made for us. Such a good thing that life is not such a certain thing. It is more flexible. It is open for change. So we need to think about that, and I would like to. So any change, any uncertain moments in our life can be an opportunity for us to look for new ways to live our life, and also for us to learn more things, develop more wisdom in our life. So any uncertain moments is an opportunity for us to grow. So I would like to share a story right here. You may have heard that story about of a Chinese farmer. This is a well-known story, but it's very appropriate for our theme today. And this talks about uncertainty and how we can deal with that. We used to think that uncertainty is always about negativity, but it's not necessarily. We can make any uncertain moment, we can make it a negative or we can make it a positive thing. And you think about this pandemic, these days, it has restricted so many things in our life, but it also opens doors for new things, such as, I was able to give you talks, even, from here, and of course it's a loss that I couldn't visit Malaysia this last year. And I'm hopeful that, maybe this year we will be able to, meet, and I will be able to visit Malaysia. But even though we cannot visit, still, it opens the door for Buddhist Mahavihara to start a completely new ways of sharing the Dhamma. And it has been so successful. I'm so glad that you get so many new Dhamma speakers, monks and lay people, and you get more opportunities to learn the Dhamma. And so I'm so grateful to everyone in Buddhist Mahavihara who made use of this uncertain moment to make it a positive experience for everyone. Okay, so let's go to that story of the Chinese farmer. This Chinese farmer had a few horses, and he had a few horses. He used his horses to tilt his ground for his cultivation, and so he had only few horses. He took care of them very well, and all the other villagers also the farmers, and they were using horses to till the ground and carry the goods, and that's the life they had. So one day, one horse of this farmer suddenly disappeared. He kind of ran away to the forest. And so this farmer is lacking one horse. It is difficult for him to manage everything that he has to do. All the other villagers came to this farmer, and they all felt sorry for this farmer. He is already poor, and now one of his horses has left him. Ran away to the forest, and they came and told him that we are so sad. Such bad luck. You lost the horse. But this farmer told them, who knows? Who knows? Any change is not necessarily good or bad. Let's see what's going to happen. And then after a few days, suddenly that horse who left the village to the forest has returned with 3 more wild horses. This horse has went to the forest and had met other horses, and then they became like maybe like a herd, like a group. And when horse returned to the village, he came with 3 more new wild horses. And suddenly this farmer got 3 new horses. Of course, they are wild horses. But then all the villagers were so happy, so surprised, and they all came to this farmer and told him that you are so lucky, such a good luck. We have 3 new horses. If you were to buy new horses, it would be really expensive. But now you have 3 new horses came to you. And then farmer said that who knows whether it's good luck or bad luck. Let's see what's going to happen. And of course, all these 3 horses are wild horses. They had to be trained. So this farmer has a young son who was very brave, and he really wanted to train these wild horses. So he took the responsibility of training the wild horses. So every morning he will try to train them, try to guide them, try to it's a difficult task. So after a few days of training these wild horses, one day the one wild horse got really anxious, really fearful. He kind of jump himself, and then what happened? The son who was training this wild horse had a very bad fall. He fell down and broke his leg. Now this farmer has these horses, and he has now is the time to till the ground and prepare the ground for cultivation. Now this farmer doesn't have the help from the son, and his leg is broken. Now he had to take care of the son and make treatment to the son. And all the villagers came back again to the farm and said that, oh, such a bad luck, and now your son is sick. You have to take care of him, and you will not have time to prepare the ground for cultivation. And what a bad luck. And the farmer said, who knows? Let's see what's going to happen. Let's see. Let's wait and see. And of course, after a week, the son is, leg is broken. It's, takes a lot of time to heal. After about a week, suddenly the army of the country came to the village, and they came with the order from the king. The king has started a war, a kind of fight against the neighboring kingdom, and the king has given order to get all the young people in the villages to the army. So he has kind of enlisted all the young people to army. So this army came to this village to take all the young people to the army so they can fight the war. And so all the young people in the village are listed, enlisted into this army. But when it comes to this farmer's house, because the son has a broken leg, he was excused and he was able to stay at home without going to the army. So that is the story. I mean, things can go and go and go, keep on going and going and going on, and changes happen. And we cannot really say it's whether positive or negative. Of course, in the case of the Chinese farmer, he said, "Let's wait and see." He doesn't do anything. He said that just wait and see. When his horse is lost, he said just wait and see. Of course, horse returned with 3 more horses. And then again, when people say good luck, he said, okay, wait and see. And of course, his son broke his leg. And then again, people came and say bad luck. He said, okay, wait and see. And he was saved from being joined to the army. But that's the story. But I think from the Buddhist point of view, instead of wait and see, that's the response from the farmer, wait and see. But I think from the Buddhist point of view, instead of wait and see, what we should do when an uncertain thing happen, when change happen, instead of wait and see, we should accept and then manage. Accept and manage. Don't simply wait and see. Accept and manage, and that's the more like Buddhist understanding. So we should think that it is not necessarily negative. It's simply uncertainty. Simply brings us opportunities. Any change simply brings us opportunities. Opportunities to look for new options, or opportunities to grow our wisdom. So think about that. And the other important thing is actually, although we think that we don't like uncertainty, actually unconsciously we like uncertainty. Don't you think so? You may think that, okay, I like if everything is settled, and that's what we look for. But actually, in the unconscious mind, what we really enjoy is not really certainty, it's uncertainty. Do you believe? Let me give an example. Think about if think about people. We like people. I mean, we like people, our family members, our friends. If our family members, if our friends has a very fixed way of behavior, and after a while you will experience very boring, very bored, with that person. I mean, if we like certainty, we should like robots more than human beings, because robots are very certain. They are very fixed. When the robots are programmed in a particular way, they will repeat the same response again and again. Same condition, same response. So robots are very fixed and certain. If we like certainty, we should like robots more than people. But that's not the case. That's not the case. We like surprises. I mean, how much we like surprises. Like, of course, we like pleasant surprises. But the very idea of surprises means uncertain. We cannot predict exactly how a person is going to behave. So, and think about how we enjoy our interaction, or how we enjoy the surprises, how we enjoy the different responses from the people. If the people are certain, like robots, we will not enjoy them. So in a way, actually, we enjoy kind of uncertainty. We just don't realize it. And many things in our life happened in a very unplanned manner, in a very uncertain manner. How did you find your partner? How did you find your best friend? You didn't plan to find your best friend. It happens due to uncertain circumstances. And even how did you come to the Dhamma? Think about that. How did you come to the Dhamma? I mean, seriously to study the Dhamma. We may be Buddhist by birth, but how did you come to the Dhamma to seriously study it and seriously practice it? It was not necessarily planned in advance, but certain circumstances happen, certain changes happen, certain uncertain circumstances occur, and we use that as an opportunity to go to the Dham. We use that opportunity to make a new relationship. So many things in our life are results of uncertain circumstances, but we made use of those circumstances for a better purpose. That is how many good things in our life have happened so far. So it's not necessarily bad. The second guidelines is that actually um, uh, do not place our self-worth in external things. Uncertainty brings us fear because we place our self-worth in external things. It could be we think that our worth depends on our job, our work, our relationship, our position, and our fame. And when we place our self-worth in external things, and all these external things can change at any time. That's what Buddha was telling in the ignoble self. Our self-worth in our inner goodness. So placing our self-worth in our inner goodness rather than external things. That is the second um, advice we can get from the teachings of the Buddha. Because we can get so frustrated, so anxious, so fearful in uncertain situations because we are afraid of losing our job. We're afraid of losing our relationships, losing our name, losing our position. And if we place our whole self-worth in those things, definitely we are going to experience stress. We are going to experience all kind of unwholesome emotions. But if you put all these, if our self-worth does not based on those external things, but instead of inner goodness, that our ability for compassion, our ability to know, our ability for wisdom. Buddha said that all of us has this potential to know and potential to care. We have this possibility. The potential to know will develop into insight and wisdom, and potential to care can develop into compassion. And that we have that possibility, that potential, if we deeply put our self-worth not in the external things that we are doing. We still can do those things. We still can engage with in our life, like we still can have everything in our life, external things, but our self-worth is in our inner goodness. And then no matter whatever changes in your life, we will not be panic, because we haven't placed your inner worth there. So your job will be different. Your job can be changed. Your source of income can be changed. It can be high or low. Many things can change, but you haven't placed your self-worth in those external things. It is in the inner goodness. No matter whatever things are changing, we still will have our ability to care. We will still have our ability to know. As long as we have our ability to know, our ability to care, we can move, we can progress. We can progress spiritually towards wisdom and towards compassion. So no changes are going to really deprive us from our growth, and we still can grow. The third guidance would be, if you truly understand that our life is uncertain, then make sure that we spend this uncertain life in the best possible way, mainly benefiting others. Since our life is uncertain, use that life wisely to help many others. So if you so our uncertainty should be a motivation to do good, because it's uncertain. So it's not like permanent. It's not going to be there. Any of our circumstances, even our financial security, is not going to be certain. So what we should do, use the moments of like fortune to help others, and also use this whatever good health we have to help others. So whenever we have some fortunate situations in our life, because we know that it's not going to be certain, use it wisely. Don't be arrogant because of that, and use it wisely to help others. So that would be the third guidance. Because our life is uncertain, use it wisely to benefit others. And uncertainty should be a motivation to do good and spend the life very fruitfully. We have no time to waste because everything is uncertain. And so it could be, and particularly during these days, during the uncertain times that we are having right now, and many things are restricted, but still there could be many opportunities for us to, like, share whatever little fortune we have with others. If we have more time, we can talk to others and share their pains, like listen to their pains. And then if you have a little bit more financial security, maybe you can share a little bit with people who need it more than us. And there are, and of course, these moments we can use this uncertain moment to learn more Dhamma, which is we are doing right now. So uncertainty is a motivation to do good. So use the uncertain life in the best possible way to benefit as many people as you can, and many beings as you can. The third advice is actually reaffirm our refuge in the Triple Gem. And as Buddhists, we take refuge in the Buddha, in the Dhamma, and in the Sangha. And that is traditionally we do it. But during the uncertain moments, the best way to go through these uncertain moments, best way to deal with uncertainty in our life is to remind ourselves that we have important three refuges. Reaffirm our three refuges. That means, so any moments of uncertainty, if you think about the Buddha, and you know that Buddha is someone who had taught about uncertainty, who has overcome the uncertainty, and who have given us the guidance to overcome the uncertainty. So think about that. We have a teacher, we have a guidance, we have a supreme teacher who has seen all these things, and who has given us the advice. So when you think about that, when you think about the Buddha, any moments of change, any moments of uncertainty, any moments of unsettling, and when you think about the Buddha, remind yourself that I have a teacher, I have a supreme teacher, I have a guide, I have a blessing from the Buddha, and you will be able to go through it. And then second one is the Dhamma, the teachings of the Buddha. And teachings of the Buddha are exactly the techniques how to deal with uncertainty, and not to attach to any external things, and renounce, and then have the self-worth, confidence in our inner possibilities, as I told you earlier. So think about them. I have a great teacher, the guide, and the compassionate great teacher, but I also have the teachings, I also have the techniques, I also have the teachings of the Buddha, which are the tools for me to handle these things. If I know more Dhamma, I may have more tools to handle these things. I'm not helpless. I have help. I have resources, the Dhamma. And the Sangha are the communities of disciples of the Buddha. And particularly the Sangha here means, in the Triple Gem, Sangha means enlightened disciples of the Buddha. Or maybe the disciples of the Buddha who have achieved certain higher levels of spiritual progress. And those Sanghas, enlightened disciples of the Buddha, are the support that we have. They are like supporting community. And our own supporting community. So we have teachers that we can refer to. We can ask help. We can ask support in any moments of suffering, any moments of disappointments, any moments of feeling down, any moments of uncertainty. We have teachers. Other than the Buddha, there are other people who have followed this path and have seen some reality and has received some benefits. So I can have help from them. That is the Sangha. So reaffirming the three refuges is also the best way to deal with this uncertainty. So I have given you 4 guidance how to deal with this uncertainty. Let me summarize now. First one is accept uncertainty as part of life, and then use it as an opportunity to change. It's an opportunity to grow. Second one is place our self-worth not in external things, but in our inner capacities, inner goodness. Third is use our uncertain life to help others, to benefit others. Fourth is reaffirm our refuge in the Triple Gem. If we follow these guidelines, we will be able to move through this uncertain period. Remember, this pandemic has brought the uncertainty of our life to the prominence, and we feel it very strongly. But even though the pandemic is over, the uncertainty of life is never going to be over, and it is a part of the life. So remember these guidelines, and we are so glad that we have the Buddha who have realized this uncertainty, who really address this uncertainty, and have given us so many guidelines to go beyond that. And of course, following these guidelines, we can gradually grow our own abilities, our own skills, and the only way to completely transcend is to achieve the enlightenment, what we call the Nibbana, which is the unbinding, the unconditioned state. But in our journey to reach there, we can use this guidance to deal with the uncertainty in our life, and use any uncertain moments as an opportunity to grow ourselves and to help others, and reaffirm our refuge in the Triple Gem. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I think now we can have some time for discussion. But when we face a difficult situation or misfortune, should we have a positive attitude or make positive affirmation to change the situation? Yeah. Yes. Whenever we have a difficult situation or misfortune, and as maybe best thing is to treat it as an opportunity. So any change is not necessarily negative, and also can be not necessarily positive. But it says it is an opportunity. I think positive affirmation is a very good thing, but okay, here I got this. Okay, what I can do now? So sometimes we may have to change how we used to do things, but it's always good, It's always good to do changes. So I think whenever we meet with a misfortune, unfortunate events, always think this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for me to know something special, develop my wisdom, and this is an opportunity for me to find new ways of doing things. So we can make any misfortune a good thing to our life. Sometimes people had some sickness. They experience sickness in their life. Instead of being panicked, instead of being depressed due to sickness, many people have used their sickness to understand more about one's body, more about one's life, and then gradually come to more a serious practice of the Dhamma. Many people with who encounter sickness have make their sickness an entry point to the Dhamma. So any of misfortune event we can use as an opportunity. Yes, I would say that treat every misfortune as an opportunity to grow within ourselves. Okay. Okay, thank you, sister. According to third guidance, you mentioned to help others since our life is uncertain. Would it be acceptable to help ourselves first? So we will open ourselves first to accept, manage, and then the others. Yes, sister, definitely. And the first one is like helping ourselves. The first two guidelines is helping ourselves. Yes, sister. We need to like first accept the uncertainty as a part of life and use it an opportunity. And second one is that place our self-worth not in external things, but our inner goodness, and then we are capable. But we should not stop right there. We should also help others too. So our dharma practice is to benefit ourselves and also to others. I think you are correct. First, we need to take care of ourselves in order to take care of others. But we should, balance these two. We should not stop only helping ourselves. We really need to like use this life to benefit others too. But I think we should first take care of ourselves. But we should not like only limit there, and then we really need to go out and help others. Because at the end of the day, when we think that my life has benefited so many, and my life has touched so many lives, it can give you such a great satisfaction. So again, it is then benefiting you. So actually, in the deepest analysis, benefiting ourselves and benefiting others are not really two opposite things. They are really connected. But I think we need more wisdom, more realization, more grounding before we help others. But helping others also, in a way, kind of helping ourselves too. But we should really remember that we should not stop benefiting ourselves. We really have to go out and help others. Thank you, sister. Okay, Bhante, thank you, sister, again, and Nailin. How do we advise someone who want to resort to ending their life during this pandemic, as they are depressed and unable to manage their life? Thank you, sister, for sharing this. Yes, this is really difficult. I think sometimes when people are in this kind of in depressed state, giving like instructions and it's going to be really challenging. I think if you meet such a person who is so depressed due to pandemic situation, we should share the wisdom that we discussed today. But I think before we do that, we need to like prepare their mind to accept, to like to process any of these teachings. Because when people are so depressed, so down, their mind is not ready to to process these teachings. So first thing we can do is like help these people that they have support, social support. If we show them that they have social support, there are people who understand your suffering. There are people who are ready to do some sacrifices for you. I think that showing them that there's some social support around you, and even being helpful to that person, and that kinds of help this person to settle down a little bit, and then eventually we can share these teachings with the person, like helping him to understand his inner goodness, and also helping him to understand that anything external can change, but ultimately they're not going to matter so much. Ultimately what's going to really matter is our inner goodness. But in the beginning, we need to, the first step to help such people is to show them our concern, show them our compassion, and help them to understand that they have a social support. If there's no social support in reality, maybe their family is not with them, their friends are not with them, maybe we should create a group of people who can like support that person, not only materially but also emotionally. So that will be the first step to do. Help them to understand that they have social support. They're not alone. They're not abandoned. The people feel depressed. People feel enough of life when they feel that they have been abandoned. So if we can show them that they have not been abandoned, there are people who care about them, and that will help them to like settle down, and then we can give more deeper wisdom. Thank you, sister. We really need to help. So let us help such people as much as we can. Okay, thank you, Sister Rachel. Okay, how do we give advice to people going through depression due to potential fear of losing job due to this pandemic problem? They face uncertainty now. Yes, it's starting same thing, as I told you in the previous answer also, and particularly when it's fear of losing jobs, that is quite serious for any person because people when people lose their source of income, and that can be really depressing, really fearful and really stressful. Um, so how to help such a person? Maybe helping that person to understand that in losing a job is a dramatic change, but that's not the end of the story. Because sometimes we give such an unnecessary value to one event in our life, and we think that if this thing happens, everything in our life is going to be over. That's not the case. One way we can help these people that okay, it's possible, we don't know, it's possible that we may lose our job, we may. Then we need to help them understand that losing of the job is very, very dramatic change to your life, but that's not going to that's another, in a way, that's another opportunity. It will not be a pleasant thing, but we should help people understand that any single event in our life is not going to change our whole life. There are always many other ways to do the same thing. If you lose one job, there are other ways that we can find some other source of income. It may be the same, it may be different, but there's always ways. Hopefully even the pandemic is not going to be permanent, right? So there'll be moments of difficulties, there'll be some period of a struggle, but there's always an opening. There will be always be an opportunity, I think. So we can help those people to realize that even losing job is not going to be the end of the story. There's only a little bump, and your story going to still continue in a different ways. So allow this journey of life to have a different route. Have this acceptance. Allow the river of the life to flow into a different direction. And this losing of a job is only a bump. And be open and be open and trust your own skill sets, and then we will be able to find other ways to find source of income, maybe find other support, and then mainly encouraging those people to place their self-worth not in the job that they are doing, not in the position that they are holding. Those are all external things like our clothes. They're not really internal. What is really this real self-worth is the inner capacities to know, inner capacities to care. As long as we have these two capacities, we worth living. We have a worth. We have an inner worth, and and we will be useful to this world. As long as we have capacity to care, we have capacity to know, we are useful to this world. So losing a job is not going to lose the value of our life. So people are so fearful, not only the financial reason, because sometimes we keep so much of value on our work we do, our job. We should get rid of that, so we can help the person doing like that, and teach them the losing the job is only a bump. It's not the end. Things will continue, and ask people be open for new opportunities, and there will always be new ways to do the same thing, but in different way. Okay, thank you, Brother David. Please explain us how not to waste this precious human life. Okay, this will take a lot of time, brother, but in briefly, one way that we waste our life is to spend so much on sensual pleasures. Sensual pleasures mean entertain, maybe indulge our senses. We need in indulging our senses, indulging in the sensual pleasures. As a lay person, you can have sensual pleasures within the righteous framework. But I think sometimes we spend so much of time of looking for new ways to satisfy our eye, satisfy our nose, satisfy our ear, And we know that as Buddhists, that satisfaction is not going to be over, and we will not be able to satisfy no matter how many pleasures that we have with our senses. So one way that we waste our life is that uh, placing trust too much on our sensual pleasures, and going for new ways, going and spending our whole life to find ways to make such new pleasures in our life. I think we need to distinguish between pleasure and joy or happiness. Happiness is more like a mental, spiritual experience. Pleasure is a very physical experience. So I think one way that we waste our life is spending too much time in things, in the gadgets, in the instruments, in things that we do to like indulge in our senses. But no matter how much we indulge, at the end we will die as unsatisfied people. So therefore it's a waste. So I think we need to understand there's more we can do with our life, not only simply indulging our senses. There are more we can do with our life. We can help others. We can be beneficial to others. At the same time, we can learn the deep reality of our life. We can learn the Dhamma. We can practice the Dhamma, and then gradually transform ourselves rather than indulging. So indulging is the best, and then transforming is the best thing to do.
Thank you, Bhante. I think we've come to the end of the Q&A.
Yes.
I think you've given some excellent replies to the questions that were raised.
Yeah.
So I think before we end, Bhante, could you kindly conduct the Anumodana?
Yeah, thank you, brother. Before I end, I would like, I would like to ask from you, brother. Have you ever had a roller coaster ride?
Many a time. When I
Many.
was younger, of course, not now, but
Yes. So, brother, when I haven't done it so far, I haven't done it. I don't plan to do it. But I have heard that there are two ways that you can ride a roller coaster. One is that some people, when you ride roller coaster, they feel so afraid, right? So
yeah,
they really try to hold into their seat, try to really grip everything, and then they try to clench their teeth, and you really want to be like to hold something. But that ride is not going to be pleasurable, right?
well, I think the problem is this: when most people, when they first sit in the roller coaster, the first thing that comes to mind, or the first emotion, is fear of
Mm-hmm.
the unknown. So
Yes.
yeah, you're right. People hold on to the seats and they wait. But once the ride starts and you've covered the most difficult angles,
Mm-hmm.
you actually can enjoy it. You'll become a thrill seeker, Bhante. You look forward to more.
Oh, okay.
And
So,
many people would like to do it again and again because just to get the thrill out of overcoming their fear. So it's like it becomes a joy after that. No
yes.
more fear. So
So I heard, brother, that if you become relaxed in a roller coaster, like
yeah,
don't hold it to anything because you already have kind of security,
safety.
right?
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
become relaxed and don't hold it to anything, and then you can enjoy the ride.
yeah.
If
That's
you
that,
become
that. That normally happens after the second ride, but not the first ride. The
okay,
first ride, you'll be closing your eyes and you'll be screaming and out of fear. But once you, as I said, normally there's a steep descent or a sharp curve.
yeah,
Once you overcome those, then the fear is gone.
yeah.
Then you begin to enjoy the pleasure of. It's like driving a fast car, Bhante.
Okay, yeah. The
Sitting
reason
in a
that
fast
I
car.
brought this, yeah, reason I brought this issue, brother, because so this accepting uncertainty
Yeah.
is like riding the roller coaster with open mind and full relaxation.
Yes, that happens after a few times. Yes.
Because we can either hold into our seats and have create a clenched teeth and tighten ourselves and try to protect ourselves, or we
Correct.
can relax and enjoy the ride and flow with the ride. uh, so whether we tighten ourselves or whether we be relaxed, journey will be the same.
Correct. That's right. That's true.
The route is not going to be different, going to be the same. It's just our experience will be different. So in
Yes.
the same way, brother, whether we like it or not, uncertainty is going to be the part of the life. Whether we try to
Yes.
try to fight against it, try to be stressful, try to be depressed, or whether we accept it and then use every change as an opportunity and follow with this, the life is going to be the same. It's our experience going to be the difference. So
Yes.
if we can learn a good lesson from the
Roller coaster.
right.
So So I think Bante is expecting all of us to, once the pandemic is over, to sit on a roller coaster to enjoy, to experience life.
Yeah, they use the example of the roller coaster
Yeah,
to live the life, you know. But
yeah,
one thing, brother, because in roller coaster they already have tracks, already, you know, inbuilt tracks beforehand. But in our life, we don't have like fixed track. We have some direction to tracks based on our karma, you know, but it's not fixed. So
yeah.
it can be more flexible. Yeah, but I think, you know, having that understanding, what Buddha said, accept the uncertainty as a part of the life and then manage it. We cannot resist uncertainty. We may
Yeah,
try, but
yeah.
we
I think,
resist. We
I,
just accept it and manage it.
yes. I think you have to face your challenges, Bante. I mean, whatever come, what may. I think
Yeah,
you have to go through the hard times, and
yeah.
at the end of the day, there'll be a light at the end of the tunnel. Anyway, that's what they say,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yes, brother. Yes.
so
So let's enjoy the journey, the life
yeah,
journey of the roller coaster ride. You know.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, brother. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. So let us now spend this time. You spend your time to learn the teachings of the Buddha. Today, we talk about very important topic, uncertainty of our life, and Buddha has given so many important teachings, and so we learn the teachings of the Buddha. So we spend this time to learn it. We spend this time to learn the important sutra, also the Arya Pariyasana Sutta, the discourse on the noble search. So let us now take our time to think about all this wholesome time that we had, to reflect on the teachings of the Buddha, to reflect on our own life, to think about people who are suffering right now. So by spending this time together in a wholesome manner, we have generated so much goodness, so much good karma, so much good merits in our heart. Let us now dedicate all these merits with everyone else. First of all, let us recall to our mind our ancestors, our departed relatives, our family members who loved us so much, who helped us so much, who are no more with us today. Let us think about all of them and share this merits with them all. May all of our departed relatives share these merits. May all of our ancestors share these merits. May they be well, happy, and peaceful wherever they may be. Idang mi ñātinang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Idang mi ñātinang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Idang mi ñātinang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. So may all living beings share our merits. May all living beings be well, happy, and peaceful. Ettavata cha amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sangpatti siddhya. Ettavata cha amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sangpatti siddhya. Ettavata cha amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe sattha anumodantu sabba sangpatti siddhya.
Thank you, Bante.
Yeah.
Before we end, I think there's a comment that I think I'd like you to read. You were talking about roller coaster and the fact that the roller coaster is tracks, and you know the end is coming. But our lives are uncertain. You mentioned we don't have no tracks, right? But
Yeah.
I think Sister Sally had a very good point here to make. Let me just try to get her.
Yes. Oh, life is. Oh, thank you, brother Sally. Life is always uncertain. The only death and taxes are certain. Manage your life, with it, and be a thrill and like Okay, manage
Yeah,
your life.
so Sister Sally is right. So as far as human beings are concerned, only death and taxes are certain. The rest is all uncertain.
Yeah. Life has to be uncertain, and otherwise it will not be lively. Yeah.
So, okay, we've come to the end of this evening's Dhamma sharing. On behalf of the Committee of Management and also the monks of the Buddhist Mahavihara, let me take this opportunity to thank Bhante Dr. Pemaratana for taking time off from his busy schedule this morning, Sunday morning in Pittsburgh. And to also the sponsors of this evening's Dhamma talk and to all the listeners. Bhante, we had about 160 listeners this evening.
Nice to hear.
So,
Glad to hear
yeah.
that.
So I hope all of the listeners also enjoyed and absorbed as much as you could in terms of the Dhamma knowledge that Bhante tried to impart on us. So with that, we've come to the end of this evening's Dhamma sharing. So with that, good night and have a safe one now. Thank you, Bhante.
Okay. So, yeah, you're most welcome, brother, and so nice to spend this morning with you all. And I hope to see you again, and wish you very pleasant and very confident life. And may you have a smooth ride of
Yeah,
your uncertain.
sure. Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you.